Welcome to today's deep dive. It is Wednesday, March 25th, 2026, and I am so glad you're here with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is going to be a really, really interesting one.
It really is. So we are getting into this brand new 2026 book. It's called Money, Money, Money: How to Reset Your Money Mindset and Find Financial Freedom.
Right, by Rachel Davies and Angela Meyer.
Exactly. And, before we even get into the heavy economic stuff, the origin story of this book is just, well, it's incredibly relatable.
Oh, completely. It didn't start in some, stuffy corporate boardroom.
No, not at all. It started at a kitchen table.
Right.
Picture this. You have these two highly capable working women in their 40s. They are educated, they are driven, and they literally describe themselves as Jedi masters of budgeting.
Which is such a great phrase.
Right. I mean, they track their spending, they work multiple jobs, they have pulled their bootstraps up so high they are practically cutting off circulation.
But then they're sitting there looking at their bank statements over a cup of tea, and they realize they are still completely broke.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Virtually no savings, no investments, no property, just, running on a treadmill.
And they were following the standard financial playbook to the letter, which is what sparked the whole mission of their research.
Exactly. They wanted to answer this one massive question that was just plaguing them. Why does traditional financial advice fail so many women? And what is the actual missing piece to finding true financial security?
And the thesis they came up with is, well, it fundamentally changes how you look at a bank statement.
It really does. Because they argue that financial freedom isn't just a math equation. To actually get ahead, you have to understand two completely intertwined landscapes.
Right, the external and the internal.
Yes. First, there's the external macroeconomic system, which historically just excludes the realities of women's lives.
Totally ignores them. Yeah.
And second, there's your internal psychological landscape, like how you actually feel and react to money on a neurological level.
Because just trying to budget your way out of systemic inequality without addressing your money psychology, it's a fool's errand.
Okay, let's unpack this with an analogy, because this really helped me. It's like, imagine sitting down to play a board game, right? And you're trying to win this rigged game by just rolling the dice harder.
That is exactly it. You can't math your way out of a game where the rules are secretly stacked against you from the start.
Right. So before we can even talk about fixing our personal bank accounts, we have to talk about the economic water we are swimming in.
The invisible labor in the economic machine.
Yes. Because this historical context genuinely blew my mind.
Right.
I always thought of economics as this, objective scientific law, like gravity.
Right, we're taught it just exists. But classical economics is a completely man-made construct. It was built centuries ago.
Centuries ago, during the Enlightenment.
Yeah. If you go back to 1776, you have Adam Smith writing The Wealth of Nations.
The famous invisible hand of the market.
Exactly. He's trying to create these precise mathematical equations for value and production. But to make those models work, he had to base them on a perfect citizen.
And this perfect citizen just happens to be a white male land-owning individual who is completely unencumbered by any caregiving responsibilities.
Right. He's out in the public market trading goods all day.
Which begs the question, if he's out running factories all day, who is taking care of his house?
Who is raising the kids?
Who is cooking the meals so he has the energy to go be economically productive?
That is the foundational blind spot. Early economists just assumed care work was an infinite, free, natural resource.
Like sunshine or air.
Exactly. They just pushed it entirely off the economic ledger, didn't need to be measured or paid for.
It is wild that the foundation of our global economy just purposely ignored half the population's labor.
And it gets worse, because it's not just ancient history. The book brings in the work of Dr. Marilyn Waring.
Oh, the feminist economist from New Zealand. Her work is fascinating.
It really is. In 1988, she published this critique of the rules for gross domestic product, or GDP.
Right, the metric that basically runs the world.
Yeah. So the international rules for GDP were standardized around 1953. And the core rule is that it only measures market transactions.
Meaning money literally has to change hands.
Exactly. So Waring pointed out this insane paradox. Because money changes hands, the illegal arms trade...
Which is crazy to think about.
Right. The arms trade counts toward economic growth. It makes the GDP go up.
Wait. Here's where it gets really interesting. If I'm hearing this right, an illegal arms deal is deemed economically productive. But a woman breastfeeding her infant...
Zero value.
Or managing a household, keeping kids healthy...
Legally and economically defined as unproductive because no cash was exchanged.
I mean, the foundational metrics of our global economy are essentially broken scales.
They absolutely are.
It's like using a fitness tracker that applauds you for walking on a treadmill, but completely ignores a 10-mile hike just because you didn't do it at a gym.
That is a perfect way to put it. You did the work, but the system doesn't have a sensor for it.
So, what does this all mean for the modern economic policies that governments rely on today?
Well, it means they're driving blind. Governments use these GDP metrics to make massive policy decisions.
Like tax cuts or stimulus spending?
Exactly. But they are making these decisions based on a partial picture. They are completely erasing the unpaid work that actually props up the entire formal system.
And that historical invisibility directly connects to the modern financial penalties women face today.
Right, because the system was built to devalue those roles. It legally and culturally extracts wealth from women right now.
The data in this book on the disparity is just staggering.
It's sobering. I mean, they point out that women retire with roughly 25% less in savings than men.
25% less. And it's not because they are bad at budgeting.
No, it's systemic gaps. Look at the motherhood penalty. In Australia, mothers face a 55% drop in earnings within 5 years of having a child.
A 55% drop. That is, I can't even wrap my head around that.
It halts your career momentum entirely.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, men receive what economists call the fatherhood bonus.
Wait, really? A bonus?
Yeah. On average, men receive a 6% wage increase per child.
Because society views them as stable providers who need more money now.
Exactly. It's the exact same life event, but a massive penalty for one and a bonus for the other.
And then on top of the lost wages, you have the pink tax, which I enthusiastically highlight because it is just absurd.
Oh, the 2011 Bic for her pens.
Yes. Pastel pens with a slim design for a woman's hand, that cost noticeably more than regular pens. We call it a pink tax, which sounds almost cute and quirky.
Like a funny marketing mistake.
Right. But isn't this really just systemic economic discrimination?
It absolutely is. And the macro level cost is huge. The book notes women spend an average of $18,000 on period products over a lifetime.
$18,000 on a biological necessity.
And the state of California actually did a study finding women pay about $2,381 more per year for the exact same goods and services as men.
Haircuts, dry cleaning, shampoo, it all adds up.
It does.
So how does this constant financial draining impact a woman's ability to participate in the eighth wonder of the world, compound interest?
That's the real tragedy here. Every dollar spent on pink taxes or lost to the motherhood penalty is a dollar that isn't compounding in an investment account.
It never gets the chance to grow.
Right. And this is exactly why women make up the fastest growing group of homeless people in Australia.
Wow.
The system literally leaves them retiring into poverty.
Okay, so the system is rigged. But the authors make this crucial pivot here. They say that existing within this extractive system doesn't just empty your wallet.
No, it fundamentally alters your brain chemistry.
Right, your mental bandwidth. Can we dive into the neuroscience of poverty? Because this blew me away.
Yeah, the science is fascinating. Roughly 80% of financial decisions are driven by emotion.
80%, not logic, emotion.
Right. And when you have chronic financial stress and trauma, it literally rewires your brain's amygdala.
Yeah, panic center.
Exactly. And it suppresses the prefrontal cortex, which is where you do your logical planning.
So operating in a scarcity mindset literally drops your cognitive bandwidth.
By the equivalent of 10 to 14 IQ points.
10 to 14 IQ points, just from the stress of trying to survive.
You literally don't have the neurological RAM to make complex long-term decisions.
Which brings us to the shame compass. The book details 4 ways people subconsciously react to financial shame, and I think everyone listening will recognize themselves in at least one of these.
Oh, absolutely. Walk us through them.
So first is attack others. This is when you judge wealthy people to protect your own ego.
Right, lashing out because you feel inadequate.
Yes. Second is attack self, believing you are just inherently flawed or bad with money.
You internalize the systemic failure as your own personal failure.
Exactly. Then there's withdraw, like actively avoiding a friend who talks about their financial struggles because it triggers you.
You just isolate yourself from the topic entirely.
And finally, avoid, which is so common. This is stress buying those $200 boots online because you feel numb.
Seeking an immediate dopamine hit to soothe the panic, even though it makes the debt worse.
It's wild that financial institutions just offer budgeting spreadsheets to women dealing with this.
It completely misses the point.
That's like handing a manual for a steering wheel to someone whose engine is currently on fire.
Yeah, a spreadsheet cannot fix nervous system dysregulation.
So I have to ask, If the system is this stacked and the psychological trauma is this deep, how can the listener possibly break out of the cycle without waiting for a total societal collapse and rebuild?
Well, this is where we pivot to the therapy solution. Because no, we cannot individually dismantle the patriarchy overnight.
But as much as we might want to.
Right. But we can seize control of our internal financial landscape. We can use therapeutic tools to rewire how we react.
And their most unconventional exercise is literally talking to money.
Out loud.
Yes, like it's a person or a cushion on the couch. I was so excited reading this part.
It sounds kind of crazy at first.
It does, but the author, Rachel, she realized through doing this that she was treating money like a highly toxic friend.
How so?
She realized she was using it recklessly when she wanted to feel good, but then completely ignoring it when she felt guilty.
Just icing its calls.
Exactly. Refusing to look at bank statements. She said she would never treat a human friend that way, so why was she treating her money that way?
That is such a powerful reframe. It moves it from abstract math to a relationship you actually have to manage and respect.
And that leads into updating your subconscious beliefs, right?
Yes, finding those hidden scripts running in the background. Like a lot of people have this deeply buried thought that says, someone is coming to save me.
A partner, a lottery ticket.
Right. But you have to actively replace that with the empowering realization, I am saving myself.
I am saving myself. I love that.
And they use this technique called the Brilliant Money Movie. It's a visualization technique.
Okay, what does that involve?
You literally picture your financial past, your present, and then vividly visualize a successful future. Because of neuroplasticity, your brain starts building new neural pathways as if you've already achieved it.
So what you're saying is that our childhoods and the media installed buggy software in our brains.
Basically, yes.
And reframing these beliefs is like finally updating your smartphone's background operating system so the apps stop crashing every time you look at a bank statement.
That is spot on. You are installing the update. And pride and curiosity are the ultimate antidotes to financial shame here.
Curiosity over judgment.
Exactly. When you view your money story objectively, you stop blaming yourself for systemic failures. You start making intentional, conscious choices to build wealth.
So, to summarize all of this for the listener, traditional budgeting advice fails because it ignores both the systemic economic barriers designed to extract wealth from women and the deep emotional trauma tied to money.
You can't ignore the macro or the micro.
Right. True financial freedom starts by unshaming your relationship with money, having honest conversations, and actively updating your subconscious beliefs.
It's internal work first, external wealth second.
Exactly. But before we wrap up, I know you had a final concept from the sources that you wanted to leave the listener with.
Yeah, I want everyone listening to mull this over. It's about the illusion that money solves all problems.
We are so conditioned to believe that it does.
We are. But I want you to look beyond the numbers. If money is ultimately just a tool to buy security, connection, or freedom, what are the non-financial ways you're already rich in meeting those exact needs today?
Oh, wow.
Because recognizing your non-monetary abundance might actually be the first step in making you financially unshakable.
I love that. And it really makes you consider if the entire system is built on the idea that care and connection are economically worthless, what would actually happen if we suddenly put a dollar sign on love? Just something to think about. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.